If you have a classic or vintage Bang & Olufsen music system, then this video is going to explain how free of charge you can upgrade it to have a full-featured music server included. Yes, that's correct, free of charge in many cases, and also you can add, if you wish, digital signal processing, which is the sound tuning feature that is included in Bang & Olufsen's latest Beolab 28 speakers. No, this isn't too good to be true. Please join me for the video and I'll explain everything. Firstly, may I wish you all a happy new year. Welcome to the first video of 2022. If you're new to the channel, I'm Steve from Sounds Heavenly. My day job is helping people to enjoy and connect their Bang & Olufsen products to get the best from them. And as you see behind me, I'm a B&O fan and collector. I have here a BO System 3500 from the early 1990s. I've spent most of my Christmas holiday working on this little project, which I thought would be nice to share with you, and it has been completely free of charge. In order for this to be possible, we do need to make 2 or 3 assumptions, so I'll explain those, but hopefully this is something that you can also upgrade your system to include and have zero or minimal outlay. I'll just explain very briefly the background. Back in 2011, I was privileged to be at a trade show where Meridian Audio were demonstrating their new Olufsen music server. Now at the time this was quite groundbreaking. It had a 17-inch touchscreen display, a 500GB computer hard drive, and it allowed you to store all your music digitally and play it back at really high quality through your conventional audio system. The major problem at the time was the price, £4,750, which back in 2011 was not an insubstantial amount of money. So that got me thinking, I wonder if now in 2022 we could do the same thing, or better, without any real cost. And the answer is yes. Now, the assumptions we're going to need to make this free of charge are quite simple really. The first one I hope is a given, that somewhere in your house you have a classic or vintage Bang & Olufsen music system. If not, you really need one in your life. This will work for anything from around about 1961 to the mid-2000s, anything on the non-internet enabled age. So if you've got BO Sound 3200, BO Sound 9000, they're fine. The older BO Master 1900, BO Master 5000, 6000, 8000, you name it, anything through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s will be fine. And what we're going to do, our second assumption is that because of the rapid pace of technology change, somewhere in your house you probably have a redundant PC or laptop. And if not, I guess fairly soon you will have when you next do an upgrade. So don't recycle that old machine. If it's a laptop you have, then that's all we need. If it's a desktop PC, then I'm going to assume that also in the room with the music system you have a flat screen television of some type. Now this can be anything, LCD, plasma, OLED, it can be a projector if you wish, just not a cathode ray tube, sort of 1990s and earlier version. It does need to be a flat screen TV or a projector. And that's all we need. If you've got those items, then we can get this project working. In simple terms, what we're going to do is give you the ability to play all of your stored and streaming music from the computer onto the music system and display, either on the laptop screen or the television screen, all of your artwork, your playlists, your track lists, and to give you the chance to do your music streaming properly. Now, whilst many of us use phones or iPads to stream music, the wireless connections can be unreliable. The devices have tiny screens and even tinier batteries, and it's very difficult to get a full evening of music listening from one of those little streaming devices. So here we're going to give you nice, easy access to your music on the screen that you normally use, at whatever size you want, and no compromise in sound quality and no issues with battery life. What I did over Christmas is I took my old work PC that's about 10 years old, not good enough to do my video editing, but more than adequate for playing music. I popped that behind the sofa here in the living room and connected the headphone socket of the PC directly to the tape input of the Beomaster 3500. I'll put a link in the video description, but basically all that's needed is a 5-pin in to mini jack cable, and that allows you to take the sound from the PC straight into the music system and through the hi-fi speakers that are connected. The pictures, the artwork, track lists, playlists and so on go from the PC to the television. Now if you have a laptop, there's no need for any connections here, simply use the laptop screen, but here, using a desktop PC, I used a VGA video output which matches the television PC input, and I can then press PC on my B&O remote and view on the TV exactly what's playing. This is where, for the connection to the TV, I'd suggest your best option is have a word with a local computer store, show them a photograph of the sockets on the television and on the computer, and they will very easily match those up for you. What I'm going to look at helping you with here is the audio connection, the link from getting the sound from the computer to the music system. And there's also the option, it's worth mentioning, that whilst the headphone output of the PC is fine, if you really want the best quality sound, then you can upgrade by adding a USB DAC, which is a digital to analog converter, and this is basically an external sound card for the computer. It still uses the same cable, it has the 3.5mm headphone output, but it really ramps up the sound quality and gives you true hi-fi sound. So in terms of actually getting the sound, getting the music from the computer, there are plenty of choices. You can physically put your CDs into the CD-ROM drive of the computer, store them using a program like Audacity, which is free of charge, and that will let you store MP3 or lossless files on the computer to play back whenever you want. If you have a Spotify or Deezer account, then you can stream your music online and again put it through to the audio system. Both of those have free and chargeable options. So I use a paid Spotify account, but for either Spotify or Deezer you can have free access to all of your music as long as you don't mind occasional adverts. If you like radio stations, there's TuneIn Radio, and of course you can use the computer to access music or your favourite channels via YouTube and other video services. So there's absolutely no limit to what you can access here and send through to your classic B&O music system. Now I did also mention digital signal processing. I'll just skim over this very briefly here because I have already made a video that explains what's involved in more detail. So right at the end I will link to that video on screen so that you can go, if you want to have a bit of a deeper dive into what's involved, then you can do that there. Suffice to say for the moment, what this does in Bang & Olufsen's latest speakers like BLab 28 is it allows you to digitally tune the sound so that it matches the output of the speaker and also any constraints in the room. There is free software available. Taking this at a very simple level, I've used a free app called Equalizer APO for Windows, and that gives me a digital graphic equaliser and allows me to manually tweak the sound exactly as required. So in this case, the Dali Oberon 5 speakers that I use in the living room have a very slight dip in the mid-treble at 2400 Hz. It's just the crossover point between the bass cones and the tweeter for higher sounds. And this graphic equaliser allows me to very easily dial in 3 decibels of boost and counteract that natural failing of the speaker. And effectively what that does is female vocals, particularly sopranos, can come through just a little muffled on these speakers, and this corrects that and gives them their nice clear tone that they should have. So whatever the weaknesses or shortcomings of your system, with a little bit of time and listening effort, you can manually dial in corrections for those. However, if you want to do that without having to put in manual intervention, you can go a step further. There's again a free app called Room EQ Wizard, or REW, and that allows you to add a measurement microphone and sonically scan the room, find out exactly how the room and the speakers perform, and then automatically put corrections in. So that's the deeper dive that I'll go through in the next video linked at the end. So I'm hoping that if you have a classic B&O system, a surplus computer and a television in the room, that this will inspire you to start thinking about getting your digital music to your hi-fi system in the best possible way. Phones and iPads are great for convenience, but I would suggest that in terms of music, this is the better solution. Please let me know what you think. Have you tried something like this, or do you have a better idea? I'm always open to suggestions, so please let me know in the comments how you would get your music to a vintage B&O system in the best possible way. As promised, up here on screen will appear the deeper dive into digital signal processing. And I'm hoping you love vintage B&O, so just here is my vintage B&O playlist. Thank you very much for watching. I hope the video has been helpful. I'll see you in the next one.